But Liverpool haven't played anybody yet, right? Liverpool haven't played anybody yet. And shout out to everybody who predicted that we'd get the win off of Manchester City today. I predicted as well. I thought it was going to be a lot closer than it was, but absolute dominance from Liverpool. And if you don't believe me, we're going to go over the stats in a second. I know some people will say, well, the second half, Man City kind of came into the game. They didn't. And I'll show you the facts on how they didn't. But I'm going to throw this graphic up on the screen right here. I remember when this graphic came about the 10 fixtures that was going to dismantle Liverpool's title charge. I thought we would get wins out of all of these, and I'm very surprised actually we didn't get a win out of the Arsenal game. But to get 9 wins out of 10 on these teams, Real Madrid, Manchester City, Leverkusen are in the mix, Chelsea, Aston Villa, Brighton twice. I think Liverpool have played some people, and I think Arne Slot has proved that he is one of the best, if not the best, manager in the Premier League right now, and he adds insult to injury onto Pep Guardiola. And let's be very honest here. This could have been a 3-0, 4-0 type of result, especially with how we came out in that first half. We came to win today. And we came to play. And these boys are showing so much hunger and so much desire that I haven't seen since we went on that title run back when we went like 20-something points clear under Jurgen Klopp. They're animals right now. Everybody understands their job. Everybody understands their role. The way that Arne Slot has been able to put together this team to where everybody understands that the individual accolades aren't going to really matter, right? I know Mo Salah is having an all-time season and things like that, but I look at some of these players like Nunez, like Szoboszlai, like Curtis Jones, like Ryan Gravenberch, who's an excellent example of a player who is playing in a position that he typically doesn't play in, and he's been vocal about not really loving playing in that defensive midfielder role, but has been able to adapt and has been able to do what the team needs and has played at world-class levels. And same thing with Darwin Núñez, who isn't bagging a bunch of goals and assists this season, at least not as many as he was at the tail end of last season when he went on that really good run. But the tackles that he's putting in, the effort that he's putting in, I got to give a special mention out to him on top of a bunch of other players that we're going to talk about. But Joe Gomez is another great example of how can you pretty much get a sniff almost all season, come in and play one of your best games that you've played pretty much all season, probably all of last season as well against VVD, and act like nothing ever happened and you just didn't skip a beat. It's that these players are bought in. These players, they understand what Arne Slot is asking them, and they understand what's at stake right now, and they believe that they are the best team in the world. Some of the play from midfield, from Szoboszlai, Maka, and Gravenberch, was like prime Barcelona-esque. I mean, the one-touch, two-touch passes, the drops of the shoulder from, I almost dropped my camera trying to do that, but from Ryan Gravenberch is, and I said this in a video before, it's Thiago-esque. The way that he's able to shimmy away from players being that damn big, 6'3", just makes no sense. And then Maka is just the linchpin of everything. He just keeps the game ticking, keeps the ball ticking. And those grass cutting passes that he slides in to the final third is just unbelievable. Though that midfield went on a rampage today, and Sabo was really close to being my man of the match today. He picked a phenomenal time to have one of his best games ever. But Pep is really struggling right now. And they struggled against this midfield of Sabo, Maka, and Gravenberch. And you could see he's rattled. He's rattled right now. And this does not look like the same Manchester City that we've seen. They look a shadow of their former selves. And an almost non-existent midfield. I'm not even actually sure what the formation was that they were running in the first place in that first half. They did get a little bit of control, but no chances created. Liverpool locked the door shut and didn't let them back in, sealed the game with that Mohamed Salah penalty. And speaking of Mohamed Salah, probably one of the best goal scorers, and now we have to put him in the category of one of the best creative players to ever play the game. 4 assists away from matching David Beckham's assist record in the Premier League. At what point do we start saying he's the best ever player to play in the Premier League? We'll have to see. Maybe he has to win multiple Premier League titles, which he may be on track to do. But before we jump into this game, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. If you are new here, make sure you put where you're watching from. This thing is going all around the world. We're going from Russia. We got New York City. We got Houston, Texas. We got people from Zambia. We got people from Malaysia, all over the place. So if you're new here and you subscribe, make sure you put down below so we can keep building this community. We're going to the moon. We had over 100 people subscribe in the last video. Keep doing that. We're trying to get to 5,000 and grow this thing all the way to the roof. But let's get back into the game. The stats. I'm going to put this on the screen for you guys right now. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. A 3.3 XG to a 0.82 XG. Pure and total dominance from Liverpool. And some people will say, well, I saw some cracks in that second half. No, you didn't. You're coping. No, you didn't. Sure, we gave them the ball a little bit more in that second half, but they were never a threat, ever, at any point in this match. And we just did that to Manchester City. The back-to-back-to-back Premier League champions. We just did that to Manchester City and played them out of the park. And I remember when Aston Villa held Manchester City to 2 shots on goal last season, people were calling it a masterclass from Unai Emery. I need y'all to do the same thing for Arne Slot. That was a masterclass where he coached probably the greatest coach that we've seen in history off the pitch. He coached him off the pitch. And let's be really, really honest there. That's exactly what happened. The dominance in the first half and then the control over the game in that second half. To not go overboard. To not try to overdo it. I mean, and this is no knock on Klopp. He's my favorite Liverpool manager ever. But a lot of times in those situations, we would overextend ourselves trying to get that second goal. And we would expose ourselves at the back and then it would be tied up. That didn't happen with Arne. He was methodical. We were slow with it, and we made sure we kept the ball. And we made sure that when they had the ball, we were hard to break down. I mean, some of the simplicity that Arne Slot was able to kind of implement against Pep Guardiola, it's just like, this is like X's and O's for coaching, man. Be hard to break down. Keep the ball as long as you can to keep them from getting opportunities and scoring. Keeping it that simple. And then put pressure on the players that you know have great technical ability, so it forces the players that don't to make risky and tough passes. That's all Liverpool did in that first half. That they put Akanji in a lot of situations to where he had to make a tough pass. Same thing with Nathan Ake. Kept it out of the feet of Bernardo Silva and Gundogan by putting Gravenberch in between those two. And when they played on the back, it was difficult. And that's why we kept robbing the ball from them. We kept putting it at the feet of Walker. We kept putting it at the feet of Ake, who continued to make tough passes, trying to make it out of the back because we just blocked out of that midfield. And that was how we were able to create a majority of those chances, especially the one that led to the goal. It's simple X's and O's stuff. And I think we've just become so heady with the coaching and the tactics and the tacticals on Twitter and set your team up like this and invert that. And Arne Slot says we're gonna play a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, and we're just gonna press well. We're gonna keep the ball. And we're not going to take a whole ton of risk. And then when we do get an opportunity to score, we're going to try to take it. It's that simple. That is Arne Slot ball as a whole. And he adjusts the tactics. He adjusts who we press. He adjusts the intensity based on the team. Who do we need to shepherd a little bit more? Who do we need to deputize a little bit more? And in this game, it was Bernardo Silva and Gundogan. They weren't able to get onto the ball. They just weren't. And then when Rico Lewis moved into midfield, he's not a midfielder. Let's be honest there. Rico Lewis is a great talent, and I think he has a really bright future. But I think he's a right back, and I don't think he's a midfielder. He was robbed over and over and over in that midfield when he moved in there. And Liverpool was able to get control back again when they brought on those 2 wingers with Jack Grealish, right? So this midfield is probably the best in the world right now. And I'm not even stretching right now. I'm not even stretching. Some of the passes from Maka and Gravenberch and Szoboszlai was just sexy. And the Liverpool and the Manchester City, midfield could not deal with it. But for me, the man of the match was close. It was close. It was almost Szoboszlai. He was unplayable in that first half. But you got to give it to big man, our captain, my captain, VVD. He was outstanding today. Didn't let Haaland get a single sniff of the ball. 2 shots on goal for the big man. He did have a mistake that led to the Kevin De Bruyne chance, which was one of the shots on goal. But, of course, cool as you like, Queven Callagher was there to snuff it out. But VVD is my man of the match, and he's probably the greatest center back that has ever played in the Premier League. Let's be very honest. Some of the stuff that he's able to do, and the way that he's been able to come back from this bad injury and come back maybe even better than he was when he before the injury, is a testament to how good he damn is, bro. And he's 32, 31. He's not a young guy, but he's playing some of his best football that we've ever seen. Give him a contract. Same thing with Mo, okay? Same thing with Mo. And special mention to Gerald Kwanzaa for coming in and keeping Doku quiet when Trent, obviously coming back from an injury, was struggling with him. He actually did better than Trent, I think. And I think that was fantastic for Kwanzaa's confidence. And we could see him maybe cameo at that right back position a little bit more in these next couple weeks, especially with Trent trying to get back up to speed and Connor Bradley being out. But let's talk about the goals. Mo Salah. Creativity is so underrated, guys. He's now 4 assists away, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, away from David Beckham, who is considered one of the best playmakers to ever play in the Premier League. And now his 2 goal contributions clear of the rest of the pack in terms of the Premier League. Some of these numbers are absolutely insane. We have 9 more games to play. He can continue to build on some of these stats and probably have a best ever season under Arne Slot. The man shoots his bow. Now give him his dough. It's that simple. Him and VVD need to stay. And if we're going to give anybody some slack and let him go, it's probably Trent Alexander-Arnold, because we are equipped there. We have apt replacements there. When he's gone, you don't feel that. When Mo's out and VVD's out, we feel that. And Trent is a phenomenal talent, a very unique player. But we can't say that the position that he plays, we don't have 1 or 2 other players that could step in and play that role differently, not the same way that Trent does, but as effective as he is. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense, because no one's Trent. No one can do what Trent does, but we do have players that can play that right back position traditionally and be as effective as Trent would the way that Trent plays it, if that makes sense. And I'm a big believer in Connor Bradley, and I've been for a long time, and Gerald Kwanzaa looked really good there as well. We have Ramsey, who's also out on loan. And then we have Lucas Stevens, who I'm very high on as well, who can play in an inverted role if we need him as well. He's out on loan. We'll see what happens there. But anyway, enough transfer talk. What's next? What's next for this Liverpool team? Dominance. That's all you can really say. That's all you can really say is next for this Liverpool team. They seem to be clicking at the right time, guys. And there's a lot of people that are saying, oh, there's going to be a fall off. There's going to be a fall off with this Liverpool team. What if there's not? What if there's not a fall off because this Liverpool team is actually finally starting to gel? And don't forget, this is a Liverpool team who has a new manager and they're adapting to a new style of play. And it looks like they're only improving and getting better because they're finally clicking with this new style of play versus, oh, there's going to be a fall off because this manager's been around for a while. We understand it. We get it. If this was Klopp, maybe we'd be having a different conversation because this would be year 10. And then we'd have some proof to kind of fall back on. But the fact that they've been playing at this level with a new manager and new style of play, and now they're getting used to the manager and used to the style of play, I'm seeing it in the midfield with the 1-touch, 2-touch play from Szoboszlai and Jones and Gravenberch and Maka. They're starting to understand the system more, and that should scare Premier League sides. That should terrify Premier League sides. Because from what I understand, Arne Slot sides only get better after December, not worse. So expect them to get better. And playing against next the struggling Newcastle side, who some of their fans are calling for their manager to be sacked, and then the toothless Everton side next. The gap could get wider. Arsenal's playing a surging Man United side, who's being coached by Ruben Amorim, who looked great today. I know it's against Everton, but that will be a confidence builder. But don't expect Man United to roll over for Arsenal in this next game. The gap could get bigger. And now the only team that I feel like we really need to worry about, or teams now, is Arsenal and Chelsea. I think Man City have some rebuilding to do in January. Expect a big January from Manchester City. And I think you expect a big January from us as well. But regardless, let me know who you guys' your man of the match was. Let me know what your thoughts are on the game. I love hearing from you guys. I love hearing your guys' takes, some of the best takes that I've ever read, especially in that last video that we did, the Real Madrid video. You guys are tacticos in your own right. But make sure you guys put that down below. I love reading them. Anything that I heart and that I like and I comment back, obviously I've read. But don't forget to subscribe. Share this out with other Reds that you know. We got to keep building this community. Up the Reds, boys. Up the Reds. We made it through the nightmare spell, and we march on to Christmas. It's beginning to look a lot like Slotmas. Or a slot like Christmas. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, see you on the next one. Peace.